Welcome to Milestone Moments, the show where we explore the journeys that lead to success. I'm Sheila Slick, your host and founder of 5 Milestones. In every episode, we will bring you insights from the minds of entrepreneurs, leaders, and experts who will share not just their expertise, but the milestone moments that have reshaped their journeys and led to significant achievements. So if you're looking for motivation, you're in the right place. Subscribe now and discover the milestones that mark the path to success. Welcome to another episode of Milestone Moments in Business and Leadership. I'm Sheila Slick, your host, and today my special guest is Casey MacDonald. Casey has reclaimed her power, health, and intuitive gifts after rising through profound initiatory experiences with relationships, health, and personal transformation. With a deep faith and belief that healing is possible, she now supports others as a medical, intuitive, and energy medicine and holistic health specialist, guiding people with compassionate witnessing in safe, sacred spaces to remember who they really are, to experience harmony and wholeness within, and empower them to take the next best step toward a life that feels liberated and deeply aligned with their divine essence. Welcome to the show, Casey.
Thank you.
You're a medical, intuitive, and light frequency energy healer. What is the story behind how you got here?
Well, I would say it started very young. I always say it started with my experience with the cedar trees. I grew up in Ontario, Canada, and we had lots of cedars there. And I would say my connection into nature really helped me understand connection to energy. And by the time I was in my teens, beautiful friend of mine, her mother saw something in me and started to train me in energy work. So I started a love for holistic health and alternative health modalities at a very young age and went into kinesiology and health promotion. And then, of course, then life happens, babies happen, marriage happened, and lots of trying moments in my 20s and 30s that I call an initiatory process. I ended up with very significant health issues that peaked in 2019. And as I journeyed through healing through that for a good 2.5 years initially, a lot of my medical intuitive gifts came online at another level. There was always intuitive gifts, but it was like I was able to understand all of the different things that I had chosen to learn over time. Like at one point, I thought I wanted to be a computer networker and programmer. And so I learned coding and I did that, and my love for music and singing. And then my love for health and the body and learning the anatomy and the physiology and all of those things just started to come together into this really beautiful package. And then my intuitive gifts and energy awareness. And we were able to call it medical intuition at the end. And then the energy frequency light medicine work is so the medical intuition allows me to work with clients and scan their bodies and see what's out of alignment, where the disturbances are, the interruptions. And then the energy aspect allows me to do the healing work with them and actually move those interruptions in collaboration with the client.
Is that an in-person experience or are you able to do it virtually as well?
Yeah, I can do both. I can do distance sessions online. And so I have international clients. And then I also do them in person, which I really love. I do prefer in person. It's always an amplified experience, but we can do incredible work with people anywhere in the world.
What did that experience ask of you that you weren't expecting?
I think that experience, I think what we want to maybe get clearer on which that experience is. I want to say the healing, the health issues that kind of were the transformation point. It asked of me complete surrender. What happened was I had dealt with lots of different things from depression, anxiety, different mental health pieces for many years until 2019. And in 2019, I suddenly lost movement and speech. I thought maybe I was having a stroke. I ended up in the hospital and I became this medical anomaly. They couldn't find anything wrong with me. MRIs, CAT scans, blood tests, everything just showed that I was normal. And so when you don't fit into a medical description of anything, of course, then they label you mental health. So the journey was quite significant to reclaim my physical power, but then also my confidence in myself. And so because the doctors really couldn't give me an answer or a treatment plan, I went searching for a medical intuitive. I had known of some popular ones that, we will hear in the spiritual community, and they weren't accessible. And I thought, they can't be the only ones in the world. There's got to be someone local. And there was a woman that I happened to know locally who supported me for quite some time. And as she supported me, then I was learning even more about how to tune into myself and understand what my body needed, what my mind needed, what I needed to clear in my energy field to be able to regain my health. And so to really answer the question, what was it asking of me? Well, it looked like a chronic fatigue syndrome. So I couldn't get out of bed. I couldn't move. They also called it sat in the field of like functional neurological disorder. So there would be episodes, we call them, or seizures, and very much exacerbated by stress. So I had to really, really go internally, and it really called up my faith in a higher power to guide me as to what I actually needed from within and how to ask for the right supports. I had to let go of shame that I couldn't mother my children. After I got sick, I did end up getting pregnant, and I birthed a child within this time frame of recovery. So after she was born, I ended up relapsing, and there would be days I couldn't get out of bed to grab her out of the crib to breastfeed her. She had to be brought to me. So talk about any identity that you might have had. I had to strip it as a mother, as a wife, as a support person in my community. I'm a big community person, and I became quite isolated because of it. And it asked of me to dig deep into my belief that healing is possible and my faith that a higher power would guide me to that. And so I always say there was times where I was laying in bed and I wouldn't know what to do. I couldn't move and I couldn't ask for what I needed. And I would just close my eyes and ask God to show me what the next best step was. And the next best step might have been as small as taking a breath. And so I just would take a breath. And then something would happen. I'd be able to move my hand. And then I'd be like, okay, what's the next best step? And it was like, okay, if you can roll yourself over a little bit, we're going to get some water. We need some water in the system. And it would be that slow, well, literally one step at a time. Yeah. It called me to go very much into those minute steps. And then, of course, the steps got bigger and bigger and bigger as I reclaimed my health.
What time frame are we talking about? A year, a month from the moment that you were not able to move to the moment that you were able to take that larger step?
It was intermittent. So initially, I spent the first 2 weeks in the hospital and I was able to leave, but with a walker. And then, so I was able to move at some points. Once I was home, there was some mornings I'd wake up and I would feel actually pretty good and I'd be okay for 2 hours. And then all of a sudden, my legs would give out on me and I would be out for the rest of the day. So it was a very intermittent experience. And that was also very, I would say, difficult and chaotic for myself and my family because we would wake up and think I was having a good day. We'd make a plan and the plan would go sideways. And when you have little children, that's hard on their minds and their hearts. So there was a lot of disappointment we had to navigate, but I would say overall then it was 2002 when I started to really feel good again. I was starting to rebuild my business again, and then that was also the year that I learned that a significant part of why I was navigating this was because I was in a very challenging relationship where there was intimate partner violence in the field of psychological, emotional aspects. And It was for me to fully heal, I needed to remove myself from the environment where I actually got really sick and unwell.
Was there a specific moment you can identify? I got through this. I'm on the positive side or on the good side now? Or was it little by little your improvement? Or was there just this aha moment where you said, I'm good and now I'm going to help others?
I would say there was a moment, it actually came through anger. I was aware at how angry I was that this had all happened, that it was happening the way that it was, and my life wasn't going to look the way that I wanted it to, but I was being guided into where I was meant to go, and that was to help others and to speak and share. But it was actually quite a very angry moment and took me into a state that I was not okay with. And I had to really look at myself and say, who am I really? And how do I want to move forward? It was almost like a choice point where it was like I could stay here and I could stay in this anger and I could keep feeding this, or I can let this anger be a sign that I'm done with this old way of functioning and I'm moving forward with me, with my business. And it was the choice point of leaving the relationship.
So now let's talk about who you help and how you help others.
Well, primarily, I focused on working with women initially, and I'm expanding now into working with men as well. I like to work with people who have quite a bit of awareness, self awareness, and a willingness to do their inner work, to face their shadow aspects. They've got maybe some courage and they just maybe don't know how to do it yet. And they really just need someone to hold space and to witness them without judgment. It's a very compassionate process, and you have to really be centered in your heart. I have to be very centered in my heart when I do the work I'm doing, and approach compassionately. And we just create this really safe, sacred space for them to come with all of their things. And they're just like they're at the moment where they're frustrated with life. Things don't feel like they're going right. They don't feel right inside. They might feel some aggravation or irritability. And they know that there's a possibility. They know that there's something on the other side of this. They're just not quite sure how to get there. I would say these people are passionate about life and they know that they can access, more love, more freedom, more joy, more abundance in their lives, and they just need a support person in their community to see them and see that their potential.
Tell us a little bit about how we can learn more or find you.
Definitely the one-on-ones is where I've focused for quite some time, so that's available online and in person. I love to be a facilitator at retreats, and so I attend many different ones and provide courses and many workshops where I can connect with larger groups of people and both women and men. I am in the process of developing a couple of more workshops where I'll be able to provide online access just for anyone who's really wanting to understand more about how to work with their energy and how to connect more in with their intuition, and their discernment and their creating boundaries. And so less likelihood of energetic entanglements or energetic attachments that would impact their health and their wellness, and their feeling, aligned.
So, for someone that perhaps isn't too familiar with what energy means, or at least in the human body, can you just give us a definition so that we understand if we don't haven't worked our energies before?
Absolutely. Thank you. Well, I mean, we get right down to the quote that everything is energy. Doesn't matter what it is, a table, a house, our bodies. We're all made up of particles, which are energy. The way I like to explain it is we have this physical body, which is also made up of energy, and it's just the molecules are more dense when we have like a physical structure of some sort. But we also have an energy field. So our hearts and our bodies have resonance and a frequency that creates a field around us. The best way that I explain it to people is if you went into a room and someone came and stood too close to you and it felt a little bit uncomfortable, it's because they're in your energy field. They haven't touched you physically, but they're in your energy field. Or like when you walk into a room after someone's been fighting with someone else, you can feel the tension, right? And it's like we just have this sense and this experience of energy around us. And so we get to, through the energy work, we get to understand more about how we absorb and take on energy, how we repel it, and how we can interact with people in our world, in our relationships in more aware ways when we look at the energy aspects of things.
Thank you for explaining that, and I like when you said that you walk into a room if there's been, like an argument and you do feel a tension, I just won't have associated one with the word energy, I guess. So I appreciate you for
Mhm.
breaking it down. For anyone that is listening today, perhaps they're going through something right now in their own lives and they can't yet see why. What would you want them to walk away with? What key takeaway can you leave us with?
I would say the first one is for anyone that is navigating intimate partner violence or extreme addiction within their relationships, or things like coercive control or someone with a narcissistic personality, there is a significant energetic and health impact that comes with that, with the support people and the people that are in close relationship with those people. Despite all of the health issues that I navigated over the years, not one doctor ever asked me what my relationship was like at home. And it took me a very long time to understand that my home situation was directly related to all of my health issues. And so I really want that message to be out there, because what happens too for people is they go into a shame loop or into this, like, I'm not doing enough, around their health, or they're just feeling so distraught because they've tried everything and the medical doctors can't give them any more information, can't guide them anymore. And there's genuinely an energetic experience and an energetic entanglement that happens with others that are, say, not functioning at their best, and it impacts our health, our mind, our emotions at such a deep level. It gets us to the point of losing ourselves and not knowing where I end and someone else begins. I would say the other thing is healing is possible. And when we open up and are willing to look at not just the physical aspects of things, and we look to the emotions, we look to the mind, and we look to the energetics, there's so much possibility in what can happen for people. Like I said, in their goals, in their dreams, in their health, in their wellness, their abundance. And so the message is healing is possible.
That's a beautiful way to close our conversation today. Thank you so much for joining me, Casey.
I'm so grateful. Thank you, Sheila.
And thank you all for tuning in to another episode of Milestone Moments in Business and Leadership. Until next time.